Hey everybody, my name is Alanson Charles, and I'm, I guess the creator of the WholEarth Game. So I want you to play WholEarth Game. Go get your book, and if you can follow along. Otherwise, just sit back and listen and enjoy the show. The game is, the reason I came to the game is because I was just fascinated with the game of soccer. First, I was is into training dogs. When the kids were little, teeny kids, I needed something to do, so I got a dog, and we worked on doing some, training and the whole thing. It was great. It was a hunting dog, and I learned how to really. And we had just a perfect area to work a dog before the earthquake. And then, so I got this guy just right, and he started doing some shows, and we started doing some outings and stuff. But he was just a family dog, just a great dog anyway. Then the kids got to be old enough, and they needed to have, well, my daughter first, and she was into soccer, and so we went and did youth soccer, and she just picked it up like, you know, like the kids do, and really liked it. And I just used that as my training tool for everything. Just fascinated with the whole thing, and then, I, you know, I was a victim of some nasty coaching. So for whatever reason, I got to turn something down here. So I'm gonna turn this off too. Everything. So I'm getting some feedback for some reason. But let's see what's happening. How can we mitigate that? Is there any way we can?
Let's try the other one.
How about turning your mic off?
Yeah, I'm backstage, but try to mute the other one. So mute this one and then turn the other one on, and let's see how that works. All right, so now turn the other one on. Yep. All right, let's try.
Okay. Is that better?
It's
Well,
better
thank you
right now,
everybody
yeah.
for being with me. Maybe we'll cut this out, but it looks like it's all right. No, still doing it, but a little bit. But soccer. So anyway, football, soccer. Okay, all just so many things in my life came around this game, and it changed my life in many ways. I was on a team that won a state championship, but I wasn't really part of the team in terms of being on the field. But I was on the bench. I was a young player. They needed mostly bodies. It was a small private school that I was attended, and so they needed freshmen to be on the bench. And so we got to really just watch the first year. But I saw miraculously how these two guys took this team, and we used the German method of using the passing techniques and so forth to keep the ball away. And we were able to dominate teams that were way more superior to us. So that was pretty fun to watch. So I hope you now. Can you hear me, Renee? Does it sound okay?
Yep. Yep, the
It
feedback
doesn't
is
seem like I
gone.
have an echo anywhere.
It's 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 good because there's no feedback, so we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I hope you can hear me. But the point is, I love the game. So then, Emma and I had the most fun because she was such a high spirited kid and just really knew, and she was so quick to learn everything. And so she and I would go and take the dog and do stuff, and she was my buddy, no question. And we used soccer, and we would go to breakfast, and she would help me decide who was going to play and who was going to do what, and we would analyze the team, and we would go through the whole thing. And I'm just feeding back like crazy. What's going on here? Can I? Maybe I'll
I don't
just
know.
turn
Yeah,
this one
just
off.
turn the other one totally off.
Okay,
That's
I'm leaving
yep.
this.
Just remove it. Yeah. And now just unmute this one again. Yeah. Unmute it from your side. Wait, you're still muted.
Now,
There you go.
so I bonded with my daughter, and Emma and I are still good friends, and we get along great. And it seems like because this game of football is what we use to really bring ourselves together. Now, I didn't have that same experience with my older daughter, and I didn't have the same experience with my son. But I know that it works sometimes. A third is all you get sometimes. Third, 1/3 success rate is pretty high. So anyway, moving forward, the game is a game of trust and sharing, because there are games that end and there's games that don't end, you see. Now, when you understand that you're involved with eternal life, you realize you're in the game of the infinite game. This is the infinite game versus the finite game. Like a game of soccer has to be a finite game. There is an end to the game. You know, so other games like football or baseball have rules and rigid rules about what consists of a full game. The game of life is something that keeps going on, obviously. So this is where, you know, the WholEarth game comes in, because now it connects you with a world and the game of life. That's the whole point. That's what I made it for. So it starts. So if you keep that pattern up, so pattern language is another thing we're looking at. So we want to see, like, the one thing is to be the best person you can be. You know, that's the I. You know, the all-encompassing I. Then you want to have the triangle. The triangle puts together the solid crystal. And then there's the four-sided thing, which is not a very, very strong structure. Four-sided and box shapes are not in nature for a reason, because they don't really stand up to anything. The next one, though, is the five, and the five is way more resilient because of these angles. It takes the wind and cuts the wind and so forth. So you're not getting a sheer force against that one-sided, you know, in a square building. Stuff to know about. And then, of course, the eight-sided is getting as close to round is the next one up, and then beyond that is 13. And those are the 13 pieces, you know, that really pull together all the different elements that are needed to make the whole system work. So we're talking about whole systems today. I mean, the whole thing is, just remember, it's a game, we're playing. You can do it any way you want. You can get my book and you can read through it. I'm sure it's online someplace. But, you know, make up your own mind. Like, you just take my ideas and run with them. Steal my idea and go do another one of your own ideas. I'm fine with that too. But if you want to contribute and comment and share with me, then we can have a little fun with this. So basically, I took that quote. Now, that's a Paul Hawken quote as far as I'm concerned, because it came from the Blessed Unrest. Now, if you want to get into the details of why we have to do this thing, why the big thing is the only way to go, and why the way that we are going is the only big thing. Blessed Unrest. So it was a book written right after Natural Capitalism by Paul Hawken, and it kind of is the details, the historical details of why we're in the movement to save the planet versus the one to completely just destroy the planet. So the people who are in charge of destroying the planet are really, I mean, drill, baby, drill. You can't get more. You can't get more, like, you know, current than you are with this, you know, maniac that's taken over. Now, Blessed Unrest, that's the history of really every movement, the largest movement known to man, and why we are part of it. You can't get outside of this one. Beautiful book. And I'd like to do a long-term unpacking of that book, and we could do chapter by chapter audiobook read through, and I would think that would be the greatest thing, a gift I could ever do. But time being what it is, I don't have all the time I would love to have. So it was from him that I really knew what I was up to. See, I was already in school, and I had met with Jay Baldwin, who was a direct friend of Buckminster Fuller and an actual worker of Bucky Fuller, and he taught me about so much about the insights and how the guy was just kind of like me, and we were kind of like very, very similar. So when I saw that Bucky Fuller was onto something, I just thought, well, you know, once I did more research on Buckminster Fuller, in our last talk we talked about that. I mean, there's no really, you don't have to go any further. If other people see this, if you take a look at Bucky's work and are not convinced, then go right ahead and do your own thing. But if you are, then you're in the right place, and we're going to be talking about that more. So then, after Buckminster Fuller, you have all these movements that are going on. Rachel Carson is one of the main characters in that thing too, and there's so many more people who are instrumental, of course, and Paul Hawken. and he's one of my key players because of that book and because of the work he did with Rocky Mountain Institute, because of the work he did with Amory Lovins, because of the work he did with Hunter Lovins. Those are the why that I had to just do some small thing to contribute, my effort in this movement, and just simply say these are the guys. Okay, we should all be watching to go forward. We need to go back. Don't take my word for it. I want you to do your own. I just did just a basic. You know how we are. I'm just like you. I don't want to do any of the work either. I want to just sit here and live the life of a whole systems design thinking planet and sit back and enjoy the ride. But instead, we got to battle against these people who want to destroy the planet. Really weird. I mean, it's really weird. It goes on to say, if you've decided you want to play the WholEarth game and are ready, the answer is yes. You have to answer yes to 5 simple things. The WholEarth Game is inspired by the World Game and the inventor Buckminster Fuller, of course, better known as Bucky Fuller. To make the world 100% for humanity, it has to work 100% for every living thing and all living things in the shortest possible time through spontaneous cooperation. Spontaneous cooperation is what he predicted. Without ecology, offense, or disadvantage to anyone or anything. However, when Buckminster Fuller proposed the World Game in 1961, when I was 1 year old, technology did not exist necessarily to implement the vision. The 5 components are the seeds of the game. These allow us to achieve 2 things: to live and travel without harm. That's what we need to do when we go anywhere. We need to be that person who can represent our species with the highest level of integrity. Take that in for a minute. Are you ready, player 1, to take it to the next level? And only you can decide what that level is. Oh, I hope you are just a mean old coach, because you need to go. There's more. Wherever you are, there's another level up. And then that's always the thing we can, that's our own type of thing. But it's fun. That's the fun of life, is to find our own limits and try to cross them safely, without harm to ourselves or to another person. Okay, now we have the technology. You see, this is what's going on. The technology is soon moving. Well, we have more technology than we know what to do with. Don't you think? I mean, I love the fact that I can talk to you, and I'm so glad, and I hope that I can reach the ears of 1 or 2 people that gets what I'm talking about, because, we just want to have a good time, not a long time. We want to help other people, and not hurt other people. We want to help ourselves and not hurt ourselves. We want to having a good time, not a long time. Okay, just remember that. And this is only one time in a million times it's eternity. You see, but it's only once. See, it's eternal, but there's only this time. The real question is, what do you do with your time? I say play. I don't want to work on anything. I want to play everything. 5 components. Seed would allow to live and travel without harm. This allows us to be the best possible person we can be, which allows us to help others be the best players they can be. The whole purpose of this life on planet Earth is to clean up our existing mistakes and to allow our species to live well on this third rock from the sun. The planet provides 5 essential elements needed to sustain life for every living thing on this planet. And we, as far as we know, we're the only ones in the galaxy, but there's others got to be out there. The 5, but they have to have the same. For this type of body to exist, we need to have, right, a place to sleep tonight. Do you have yes? Remember the answer? Remember the question? Sorry, after I bored you with all that. the question was the 5 things you need, and the answer is you have to answer yes to all these things, or we need to talk more. You need to get my book, and we need to get busy. Do you have a place to sleep tonight? Yes or no? Do you have access to pure drinking water? Yes or no? Do you have access to good food? You got a garden nearby? Are you able to grow any of your own food? I gotta say no to that. I'm not there in energy. Now, this is an interesting thing. Energy is something that, again, here in my classroom, we're at Art City, USA. It's a stone quarry. It's a stone grinding place. Usually there's a lot of noise going on right now. In the mornings, there's people grinding statues and different things, stonework. But, you know, we don't have a place to grow a lot of food. So I'm not growing food. I don't have my chickens. I don't have chickens. I usually have, there's a garden or there's some chickens going on. Okay. Water, we're getting clean water. We got and more energy. So now I've got this trailer, and we're working on the energy system here. And 100 watts of solar panel with a battery can make this thing, very, very comfortable. With a propane tank and some coffee, we can make this home sweet home. Now, the thing with this particular unit is they took the bathroom out of it. So, because those can be all kind of wet and have some water issues, and they were interesting the way they handled that issue. But so it does not have a toilet. And a lot of them, with this size, did have toilets, and there's a place for a toilet in the very, very back. But other than that, it's ready to go. So now, a place to sleep. So the energy. What I was saying is, we have more energy than we know what to do. We have solar panels stacked up over there, and they're still stacked up over there. And a solar panel stacked up not working is just in the way. So unless it's working and creating energy, if we had all the energy, and I tried to get some wind going here. Wind energy is very tricky. Coming to fact, it's a great idea, but it really doesn't work unless you are sitting right on top of a wind alley or something. And the energy it does produce is just not predictable, so it's not constant. It goes up and down, and it's way more for looks. And as a whirligig and exciting, it's fantastic as a piece of artwork, spinning. But as actually producing any real energy, it doesn't really suit the need. Solar is way more reliable. Every day the sun's shining, and we are producing by the hour maximum amount of solar energy. So that's the next thing. And then your job, in my case, I came up with this idea, and I don't know the hammer and nail. What I did is I had this idea of occupation. So what does occupation look like? And hammering the sickle, right? Because there's kind of that there's an agricultural thing, and then there's a building thing, and so forth. That's part of the communist thing, and the communist, and then of course you have to have, is it socialist or communist that you have to build houses for the people to live in? I mean, it's ridiculous. Of course, socialism. So we are social people. We work together, but we don't like working together so much. We have to have some separation, but not too much. We're very complex as a breed of people, as a human race, and we like to kill each other sometimes. There's a power with a gun. You can shoot people. And it's happening right now. There's wars that are going on around the country, around the world, and there's no need for that. We have everything we need. So hammer and nail makes more sense. And that actually relates back to some Buddhist Zen equivalent. The question is, are you the hammer or are you the nail? Of course, the nail is the person sitting in repose and in meditation. And then the hammer, of course, is, beating the hell out of the nail, right? Making the thing happen. But you have to have both. And when you place a nail, you really want the nail to just sit there and do nothing else. Don't be anything else. Please just be one thing. The nail that holds that together. All right? Isn't that funny? You really want a nail to be a nail. Don't do anything else. Just stay there. Keep the picture on the wall. What if a nail decided to be a hammer one minute? Like all of a sudden, I'm sick of being a nail. I want to be something else. Isn't that funny? But human beings have the ability to do that, and that puts us back in the mental universe. You see, now we're in the mental universe. So are you willing to help? So I think service becomes the thing now. In my opinion, my small, humble opinion, after looking at the religions out there and such and so forth, and finding that basically, that the truth, the laws of the universe are coming from Hermes Trismegistus. And they apply to people, they become Trismegistus. What's Trismegistus? Like Trismegistus, trace magic. If you just said 3 times magic, or maybe, I don't know, Trismegistus is really cool, but most people have never heard the word, so it doesn't really relate. But now you have. Trismegistus is what we're trying to get to. And here's the thing. Everybody can be that. Isn't that cool? That's a spoiler alert. Everybody can be Trismegistus, just like any of those other guys that we bow down to or pray to or whatever. That's the big secret they don't want you to know, is that you have the power to be that person too. Now you have to get that idea and hold that idea and play with that idea so that you can keep that idea just in case. Like, what's going to happen, man? We're going to get blown. Pop! The sun's coming after us. A few things are happening today. If you go back to our suspicious observer, Ben Davidson, and we look at suspiciousobserver.com and we check on sun weather today, then we are going to know that we are just, any day now, we're going to get hit by a wallop. So be ready for that. And here's the thing you don't want to miss. This is the free gift. Well, so remember. Okay, here's the one. See, everybody plays at practice. You don't want to miss the practice part. See, every chance you get to practice being a kind person, using kind, impeccable speech. Every chance. Now, I stole this graphic too. I stole everything. Not one thing is my particular thing. I've just been influenced by these things. This graphic came to me. And I'm like, that's the perfect graphic. But it didn't have this. It had something else on it. I put the world again. I put the soccer ball. I put a couple of changes. I had to make it change somehow. Otherwise, I couldn't get it published. It had to be at least this one. Oh, you got to do everything. Look, I am not the smartest guy. But if I can do this, you can do it. And I've seen some other dumbass motherfuckers get this and take it. One of them could be, a guy named Jesus Christ. It could be Moses. One could be, honestly, our good guy, Abraham Lincoln, our person. Martin Luther King, our person. These are really incredible people. And there's another one coming out of the line. I mean, our Jasmine Crockett, she's an amazing person. Our AOC, these are amazing people. Our Adam, they can do so much. We're trying to follow some kind of rule of law particularly in an absolutely lawless coup. The United States, on this day that I'm telling you about this, we are in the middle of that Hitler terror again. We're in the middle of the terror. We're just in the beginning of it. And most people still haven't figured out how deep we're going to be. So we're going to have to play together. You see, everybody plays. If you play and come to practice, you're going to play. And if you go to the game, you're going to play. I mean, there's no room for anybody on the sidelines anymore. I mean, we all got to play the game that using that Buckminster Fullerene. I mean, the Bucky Fullerene. Isn't that great? And we're going to play, and we're going to work together. See. Now, maybe not in this lifetime, but in the next lifetime, we'll come together. You know, this is the thing. Remember that in the last million years, so what was he saying? It was, I'm trying to remember. There was a lecture by our friend Roy Casagrande, and he was talking about the fact that Homo sapiens sapiens, the oldest one found so far, agreed upon by everybody, is about 400 and, let's say 400,000 years old. 400,000 years old. Now remember, in the last million years, that's not quite a million. So in the 400th, so in those numbers, how many times could we have possibly been? And then the possibility of us being ever on one of those trips is almost infinite, just impossible. Okay, when the numbers come up and how many sperm and how many and the chance of your mother and so forth and father meeting each other in a particular whatever, it's just unbelievable. And so this might be the only chance that you get to be on this particular situation. So you want to make sure you get every ounce of pleasure and fun out of doing that. And I believe that in most cases, it comes down to those two things, being kind and helping other people. I think that first you're kind to yourself, of course, and then you have to be kind to other people. And that's when the Tres Magistas happens. When you start helping other people, you start really getting into the feeling of that you're really working with God, you know. You feel like you're working with the Almighty. You feel like you're in the flow when you're really doing that. And that's how, I don't know, that's how I'm going to go out. And if you want to meet and you want to hang out with us and you want to continue to maybe go get your book, right? There's a book and you can go to Amazon.com and you can go get one. And if I see somebody buying a book, I'm going to just do my handstands and backflips because I've been giving these away for a couple of years now. I get one of the originals before they go away. If you do something in the comments section, I'll send you one that I just signed. But anyway, so after this, next time you check in, we're going to be going into the details now of housing. And but before we do that, let me go. I can't read this thing, but I'm a horrible reader. I don't like reading, and I'm not going to do it. But I'm going to tell you about what I thought to be the best game. Now, the thing that they did, the thing that these two coaches did when I was a freshman in high school and didn't get to play, but I got to watch, is they took the team that was there and they taught them this European style of separate and pass and so forth. And the ones who were playing, because I was a freshman, but I didn't really know anything about soccer, so I was mostly there to get conditioning. I was really glad to be on that bench. I will tell you gladly that I learned so much there. So by spreading out and using this technique, we were able to slow the game down, and we got some goals, and we won state championships. I was just unbelievable. So I started teaching this again with my daughter. We started talking about this because what I learned from that, I was able to give to her, and she was able to use it, and she made it to, a club league, competitive soccer or whatever. And then she got kind of burned out of it, as the kids do. And then I just like to continue to coach. So I coached AYSO. Now, AYSO soccer is very unique in terms of club soccer or the other kind of rec soccer that I was first introduced to, where, coaches can get out of line. If you don't have a good coach, you can be sitting on the bench. They can do that kind of thing. And I think that's one of the worst things that could possibly happen to a kid. I always think that the weaker player always needs more time on the field. So if I've got a team that's really, well grilled, then everybody gets to play. We all want to get part of that. We all want to have a connection with the win or the loss or whatever. Because being deprived of that is really some kind of power that's being used on kids that most people don't even talk about. And I was a victim of that. I hate that stuff, so I don't do that. So I love it when everybody gets to play. So in AYSO, it was a rule that everybody got to play and equal times to some level. Mostly, the kids just want to play as much as they want to play, and then they want to stop playing. Mostly, they have to play beyond when they want to play, so it's funny. But we had a good time with that. So I'd like to bring that to the table in terms of how to organize the world game. You see, so it's an infinite game, but it's a game like soccer, where if you watch soccer, if you don't watch soccer, it's a game of keep away. And my favorite team is Barcelona. And Barcelona with Lionel Messi was a very unique team and a very, very amazing team. And these people prided themselves in control and ball control. And if you watch some of those older games, you can see literally 50 pass connections by Barcelona without giving the ball up to their opposing team. And that was the type of soccer that we played in high school, which allowed us to win the state championships. And that is the type of soccer that I was teaching throughout all my youth soccer coaching times. And that is the way I believe that successful companies get successful. And this was the days before Elon Musk. But those other companies were hard scrap, bootstrappers, kind of, innovative, imagination factories. Also do really well in a capitalist market. I mean, almost everything that we've come to learn has been challenged by the recent events happening. So if you don't have a good grasp on history, you're completely lost. And if you do have a good grasp on history, you're still completely lost, because having one person with this kind of money and a little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing, right? That's what they say. So that's why we ground ourselves with the idea that five things are required on this planet by every living thing. Everybody needs to sleep tonight. Everybody needs clean food. Everybody needs clean water. Energy is everywhere. It's free. In my book, we talk about Nikola Tesla. He's my energy czar, of course. And we talk about just wonderful things. John Todd and the ecological design mandala. And we talk about pattern language of how the thing that we are dealing with basically in this Apple environment was somehow inspired by Christopher Alexander. And I'd like to make up a story where somehow Steve Jobs brushed against Christopher Alexander's methodology and way of thinking in order to find the way we interact with computers. And that's for, I think with Steve Jobs, I believe he saw this for the benefit of people. And without question, without Steve Jobs, I would not be in computing. I would not be able to relate to a computer, because he understood how people interact with computers through the work that Christopher Alexander had done in pattern language and houses in production and a bunch of other ones that I can't remember right now. Oh, what about Walt Disney? Everybody knows about Walt Disney. What was he really doing? What was he really up to? Now, of course, unbelievable rise from a guy with a Mickey Mouse and some animatronics, but what he brought together at the end was a theme park that was just amazing. Not to mention completely very profitable, showing people the way they ought to live in the happiest place on earth, and with a mouse. Can you believe this? Come on, only. Paul Hawken is in my book, of course. Amory Lovins is in my book, of course. So keep coming back. Next week we'll have another chapter. We'll talk about I think we'll talk about food and food production and how we're going to be doing that. But right now I want to show you real quick. I'm going to give you a quick tour of my little trailer here. I just bought this fantastic Shasta. It's a '59 Shasta classic trailer. I'm going to turn this camera around and look at this. I created a diner cafe. Okay, and do that. Go there. Look at that. Look at this. Home sweet home. So it starts to be homeful when you make it that way. We'll bring the trailer. You can make it home. Well, thank you for sticking with me for this section of Play WholEarth Game. And don't forget to play it, practice. And practice is how we do it, is it's a game of trust and sharing. So we help other people, and they help other people. And we help other people, and they help other people. And we help other people, and they help other people. See you next time.